Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode in the studio with Carliss. Today, I have the distinct honor of having Mr. Dirk Webb, who is the president and CEO of the St. Cloud Chamber of Commerce. Hi, Carlos.
Happy birthday.
You got me there.
I did.
Thank you so much. Today is my birthday. I am grateful and thankful to God for another year of life, and I pray and ask Him for many, many more. But thank you for that acknowledgement there. So, again, very honored to have Dirk on the show. He was instrumental in bringing me into downtown St. Cloud because, as many of you may know, I am the official photographer for the Chamber of Commerce. And it's been a magnificent time. It's been very impactful for my development in the downtown St. Cloud area as far as with the business owners and just getting to know the day-to-day operations and requirements in that role. So Dirk, definitely want to thank you for the opportunity.
Well, thank you. One of the things I've really appreciated about working with you, Carlos, and we've talked about this personally at times, is you seem to have this ability to be an encourager.
Yes, sir.
And anytime, anytime I seem to be having a rough day, somehow, some way, I'm directed to this doorstep, and you always have the right words to pick me up that day. And I appreciate it.
You're so that's a blessing, Dirk. And in those conversations that I've shared with you, we don't know what we do for each other and how we just need to hear encouraging words. So I appreciate that acknowledgement. So as you can see, Dirk and I, this relationship, it's beyond official photographer and CEO. He is my friend. And I feel honored to call him a friend, and definitely feel honored to have spent the time with you, the things that you poured in me that I've shared in my growth in this role. So again, I wanted to say thank you officially. All right. So in the efforts of this show, I guess we need to get into the nitty gritty, the questions. So we can ask Dirk these questions. So he is on our hot seat.
So now that we've admired each other.
Yes. Yes, sir. So it's time to get down.
So we need to warn everybody, there's going to be some laughter involved.
Okay. Sure. Yes, sir. And as you know, our podcast is unscripted. I like that. The purpose of the podcast is so individuals get to see another side of the person. So as you see Dirk walking up New York Avenue, if you're seeing at any chamber events or any events out in the Central Florida area, you may just learn something in addition about him. All right. So with that being said, Dirk, for those who may not know your story, tell us about your journey and what led you to become the president and CEO of the St. Cloud Chamber of Commerce.
So I spent 25 years in IT. That was my original career. So you and I have some.
That is correct.
And then when that came to an end, I was kind of casting around looking for the next thing. I worked for a small business incubator in Indiana. It was also the nation's leading microlender. So small business was kind of ingrained in me. And so as we did that, I was approached about serving on the board of directors of my hometown Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
I spent 2 or 3 years doing that, and the director was leaving, and I thought, I can do that. I think I could add something to this role.
Sure.
And so I spent some time with them, but my kids and my grandkids were all down here. So basically what it amounted to was I started casting around looking for a similar role here, and got a call to the St. Cloud Chamber of Commerce back in 2019.
Okay. So you've been in this role since 2019. So that's amazing. So we have your kids and grandkids to thank for you being here.
That's right. That's all blame. Whichever you choose.
We're going to say thank you. It has been a blessing since you've been here. And as we get along, we'll talk about some of the things that you have been very passionate about and putting your thumbprint on, just different things that you've made an impact on in the community. All right. During your time leading the chamber, what accomplishments are you most proud of, and what impact do you believe they have on St. Cloud business community?
So one of my philosophies is everything starts and ends with relationships.
Yes.
Everything. You can have one of the greatest products in the world, but if you can't network, if you can't create a relationship, it's beyond networking, then you're probably not going to be successful.
Yes.
And so one of the things I focused on in my time here was how do we create events and how do we create opportunities, create relationships?
Wow.
You came today when we had our Christmas parade committee meeting. And then before that, today we had the coffee co-op event. And all that is inviting people to come in and create a relationship. So beyond networking, it's how can I meet you and us find some common ground to get to know each other? Because we have a tendency to do business with people we know and trust.
Yes, sir.
And so that was really important to me from day one, was to create those relationships. And I'm also supposed to be the chief cheerleader and the chief connector in the community. And so to me, it's just like second nature to what do you do? Well, let me invite you to meet this person.
Sure.
And it's always been about my members. So
Right. That's a magnificent answer, Dirk. I can attest to everything that you're saying. You are a leader that you walk the talk. And I think from a leadership perspective, that's so important. I think the coffee co-ops are magnificent. It gives business owners or guests to just come in. I love it, the 1 minute spiel. And I've attended many. I've attended many, and the participants are the same for the most part. And I think that's great. But from whence they started, the 1 minute presentations until where some of them are today, including myself, is phenomenal. So you inspired them and you taught them to be able to give a pitch for their businesses in any environment. And that is a part of that, that brand or the purpose of the coffee co-op. So again, I'm sure that our listeners that have participated in the coffee co-op can attest to that as well. And one thing that I will continue to amplify is advertising coffee co-ops, because I think that's a great event sponsored by the town. The next question is, how has St. Cloud changed over the years? And what opportunities do you see for local businesses as the community continues to grow?
yeah, so I came in 2019, and obviously the St. Cloud landscape has just exploded just since I've been here. What used to be a 20-minute drive from where I live is now become a 30. Well, we can look at that negatively, or we can look at that as opportunity. So the community continues to change. More people come in, but again, that is more opportunity.
Yes.
And another philosophy we've had at the chamber is that as people come in, we want to embrace them as part of the family.
I like that.
And so we've tried to keep a family attitude at this chamber. So as St. Cloud continues to move, continues to change, we want that family feel to continue. Because if you have that, then everything is going to change along as it should.
Right. Now, and again, being a part of your leadership structure, the family atmosphere, you've shown it countless times. I've been in meetings and we're looking for vendors for certain situations. And you've always said, do we have any chamber members can offer this service? And I think that's so important because, again, you're not just saying that in the podcast, you live it. And our vendors, our chamber members realize that. And I've heard the buzz, and that's one of the things when people say, what's the advantage of being in the chamber? And as a chamber ambassador, it's so easy to say we have a family environment. Dirk wants to ensure that we're all working as one family, which again goes along with your views and your values. So,
well, I think too, if you don't mind,
sure.
We go back to the coffee co-op event.
Yes, sir.
And we've reached out to job seekers, get the emails all the time for people looking for work.
Yes, sir.
Matter of fact, you even hired.
I did. I sure did. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And so these coffee co-op events, we invite job seekers to come in, bring their resumes and meet these. But we also invite office seekers to come in. They're looking for votes. Well, come in and convince us why this is important. And then we also have a piece of the chamber that's a foundation that offers scholars to young people. Then I'm reminded, I could go on and on.
Go on. Hey, go ahead.
So
let it go.
You and I just got out of the Christmas parade meeting, and who was around the table but several young people from Potter's Touch.
Yes.
Well, when they came to visit me, it was like, you can mentor. Well, what does mentoring usually mean? Sitting down and talking with a young person, and saying, this is what you should do. Well, I felt like it was better than that. I felt like we could envelop them into what we are doing and let them meet people as they're performing tasks or as they're having meetings. And so the mentoring goes beyond just talking. It goes to doing.
Yes, sir. And Dirk, man, I told you we're going about 1,000 in this podcast. You are knocking it off the
I just
park.
talked a lot.
But it's the things that you say. That's powerful. A lot of us can talk a lot, but if some of the things that you say really have impact, you could just be quiet. So, but the things that you're saying are very factual. The meeting with the kids from the Potter's Touch, how they have interjected themselves in the chamber. But that all goes back to what you said about a family environment.
Right.
When they were originally presented to you, you embraced them and you thought, okay, how do we utilize and empower and feed into these youth so they can understand what it takes to get to the next level? And I think, which I love, that you give them an opportunity to sit at the meeting table. You've never once said, okay, hey, you guys sit over here and let our regular members or our business owners come to the table. And I think that's so important. And I think you've watched the growth of some of them. And I've been amazed at some of the conversations that they've interjected in at the table. Mm-hmm. But again, that all goes back to your vision and your leadership.
Now, if you go back to previous generations, what do you think of when you think of a chamber of commerce? A bunch of guys sitting around the table, shirts and ties, back in generations ago.
Yes, sir.
And cooking up deals and all of that.
Uh-huh.
Well, chambers have changed. Why should we join the chamber? These are the reasons why. Our chambers have changed.
Yes.
To where we embrace more than just business. We embrace change in our communities.
Yeah. And wow. Very, very powerful. One of the things that I really wanted to use this platform and this podcast is to talk about community growth and how do we make an impact in the community. And again, you're circling back to ways that you are incorporating those things in the community, because the things that these younger members are doing, again, it's just grooming them for work in our communities.
Success.
Exactly. Success in our communities. So when you walk around to the different organizations, you can see an individual from the Potter's Touch, but they do understand the responsibility that goes along with that they represent themselves, the Potter's Touch, and the chamber, because you provided them an opportunity. Wow. Dirk, I knew you were I knew you were just gonna come and I knew you were gonna bring this, but this is great. This is great. This is why I love podcasting. Networking is a major part of the chamber's membership. What's your best advice for someone who wants to build meaningful business relationships instead of just collecting business cards?
That's a great point. So one of the things that I'm fond of saying at the chamber is, if somebody joins the chamber, we've heard it in the past, you joined the chamber, I joined the chamber, and then I saw you again.
Yeah.
And what we usually turn it around to is, you gave me your money, you joined the chamber, but I never saw you again.
Sir.
So you try to give them opportunities to grow those relationships, to understand the difference between marketing and promotion. But the most important thing is become visible in the community. Until you become visible in your community, again, you can have a great product, but it may not work as well for you until you get involved in the community.
Right. Great point. It's a great point. Yeah, that's a very important point, because sometimes, and I've heard this, I've been in meetings and people say, why should we join the chamber? Well, we paid our money and we never see anyone. Well, I say it's a twofold process. It's not all responsibility on the chamber. There's a responsibility to you as well.
And it's a relationship.
Yeah.
It comes back to that again.
Yes, sir. All right. So I've heard this vicious rumor that you may be at the end of this illustrious career. Illustrious career as a CEO and president of the chamber. So as you begin this exciting new chapter in your retirement, what are you most looking forward to do? And do you have any personal goals and adventures you've been putting off until now?
Well, the rumors are true. Toward the end of September, then stepping down as the chamber president, it's been, to be honest with you, I'm looking at it with thankfulness up in my heart for all that God has provided here. But what I'm looking forward to doing is just spending time with my family. We've got some travel as our hobby.
Okay.
And so we've already got a trip lined up around thing on for a little while. But to be honest with you, one of the things that I've asked this chamber for, I haven't asked for anything as a leaving except for a personal chamber membership for free
Okay.
and some entry into some of the chamber's events. And so it's not like I'm completely breaking ties and will never see St. Cloud again. So at some point in time, you may see my face and look at me and go, "You were gone."
No,
You
sir.
know,
No, sir. No, sir.
They asked me sometimes soon as in the middle of the first year I may sleep, but we've made a lot of friends here in St. Cloud, and I don't want that to go by the wayside.
Right. I think in the short time I've known you, Dirk, your personality is infectious. Your leadership is second to none. And I've said it and I'll continue to say it. You walk the talk. You are from a leader, a subordinate to a leader's perspective, you are an easy person to follow as a leader because you have a direction. And you know, the word says faith without action is dead.
Right.
So you have faith and you lead us to the big frontiers, let's say. And,
So this has been a lot about me. Let's talk about the chamber and who is down at that building.
yes, sir.
So I
Yes,
get
sir.
a lot of the credit, and
I like that.
I'd be dead in the water without Heather and Rebecca
Yeah.
and some of the folks that have gone before them.
Yes, sir.
If you've ever visited the chamber, then you know that you are just immediately enveloped in an atmosphere where you walk in the front door. And I've had people say, "Well, this is different here.
Yes.
And this is not what I expected."
Right.
And I give them the credit because they just embrace people when they come in. And so, I'd like to take the credit, but no, it's a them.
Right.
They pull it off.
But that goes back to that family atmosphere, that family environment that you've established. And everyone knows as a family, everything kind of stays within the confines of what we've established. So again, you definitely should be celebrated. And finally, if you could leave one message for business owners and community leaders, sorry, long question.
Sure.
Let me get back to my game. You kind of got me flustered a little
Sorry.
bit.
I have a tendency to vary from the script when we do things like this.
It's okay.
You said unscripted.
It's totally unscripted.
That's completely unscripted. Can you tell?
Totally unscripted. So St. Cloud, what would you want them to remember about your leadership, your service, and investing in our community?
Well, I think the most important thing is that I cared about the business here,
Amen.
that I wanted to help them grow. I wanted to help them fulfill their vision. And I feel like what we've done is made sure they knew it was about them and not about us and not about me. Certainly not about me.
And that I think that's the most important thing, because when you lead unselfishly, you're really not thinking about you. You're thinking about all the people that you're impacting. And as a business owner in the downtown St. Cloud area and in Chamber of Commerce member, you have helped me elevate my business to the next level. And on New York Avenue, from the people that I know, that I talk to, and just downtown St. Cloud in general, you will be remembered as someone who cared. Every major event that I've been involved in, Christmas parade, coffee co-ops, politics in the barn, and a host of other awards banquets. And these are some of the heavy hitters. But everything that I've been involved in, you have been a great MC. You smile on demand, you hug the kids, you do everything that a leader should do. But then you sit back and watch others receive the accolades and the credit. And it's almost like you sit back like a proud father.
You nailed it. I am. That's a perfect analogy. So if we go back, we've got the perfect example, if I may.
Sure.
Very often it is when God sent his son, right?
Yes, sir.
So he sits back as a proud father, a heartbreak at times for what he had to put Jesus through. But he set the example of servant leadership when he was on earth, right?
Yes, sir.
And so that is the perfect example to follow. But you're right, as I see the businesses succeed, it's like, this is what gets me up in the morning.
Yes.
And so let's throw this back at you too. You shocked me at the annual banquet last year. So we've had the one-person shops where people have been the official photographer. And so when it came time to give out the awards, they had to leave what they were doing and
Yes,
take
sir.
the pictures. So you were eating your dinner with your lovely wife, I believe. And I went just to make sure we were on the same page. I said, Carlos, we're about to start this. He said, what'd you say? No problem. I've got this covered.
Yes, sir.
Well, I didn't realize you had a videographer, you had a still photographer, you had all these people, and you have gone so far above and beyond what we were looking for in the next official photographer.
Yes, sir.
That you have upped the chambering game phenomenally. Thank you for that.
No, and Dirk, again, I appreciate those kind words, but loyalty means a lot to me, and you gave me an opportunity. So I've said this person privately, what I'll say is just open forum as well. That opportunity meant a lot to me. Coming into St. Cloud, not really knowing a lot of people, especially a lot of the business owners, but the opportunity that he provided me, I wanted to put my best foot forward for the chamber. So at any given moment, you could say without a doubt, that was the right decision. And while I remain in this role, I will always give my best, and I will always try to make the chamber proud, because to me, the chamber is a staple in the community for the business owners. And to attract more business owners into the chamber, we need to give them a product that they all want to be proud to be a part of that organization. So again, it's definitely not about me. It's about the model that you've established, and it's excellent. So I really thank you for everything. I thank you for definitely being on the podcast. So if you're around, if you're in the area, if you see Dirk, definitely, come up and tell him hi, thank you, whatever. But again, I definitely want to thank you for joining on the podcast. And I look forward to continue to work with you beyond September. And again, I just can't say thank you enough. So, ladies and gentlemen, that has been another episode of In the Studio with Carliss. I am grateful, and I just again want to thank you, Dirk, over again. And I don't want to make it seem like overkill, but I appreciate you for who you are, and I really appreciate you for what you bring to the organization as a man of God, and how you've always been a great leader. So with that being said, thank you again for joining and watching the podcast. Definitely want you to like and subscribe to our Facebook and YouTube channel. And who knows, one day you could be in the studio with Carliss. Thank you.